screen. Okay, so now if you log into My Open Math, okay, so just click on the course, okay? Math 1000 Spring 2021. Okay, click on this. All right. So when the exam is available, it should appear like this. Okay. Can you see the top of the screen? It should look like this, Exam-2. And as you can see, I have made it available from 8:30 to 10 on Friday. Okay. So if you log in after 8:30 on Friday, you should be able to see this. And if you click on this, you can start your exam. Okay. Any question? Anyone who has struggled so far to find this?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you wanted us like in the last exam there was an area where you put it to like submit to show your work and I just submitted like how I did all my work in that area, or did you want us to like to email that to you or
I can't hear you. Could you please tell us just a
oh
little bit louder? Yeah.
yeah, can you hear me now?
Not quite.
Um I'll just type it in the chat.
Okay, yeah, that works. I guess your question was about uploading a file. So if you see a question when you need to upload a file, you just write your solution on paper, take a picture of it, and you can submit that uh, on that platform where you can see that you need to choose a file. That means you can upload it there. By any chance, if it doesn't work, you can send me in my email as well. But definitely, if you only if you see a question where you need to upload a file, definitely you need to show your work, because every line, every calculation worth a point. The reason I'm saying this is, by any chance, if you reach to a different conclusion, that means if you reach to a different answer, if your result is wrong, then I can actually give you partial credits uh, depending on how did you do on the previous steps. That means what you have done before going to that result. So if you can show some work that, hey, I know this, I have done this using this, this, and this, so I can actually give you partial credits. But you only need to do that if you see a question with file upload, not for every question, okay? If you don't see a question with file upload, you should not worry. But if you see a question with file upload, for that particular question, you need to show your work. Any other questions? So the exam is on Friday. So you still have 2 days. Um, so if you find anything, if you find any questions that you want me to re-explain, don't hesitate to email me. If you want to chat with me via Zoom, email me for a schedule that works both for us. Then we can definitely meet on Zoom. anytime before 12 a.m. in the morning, I'm more than okay to do that for you. Or you can email me, of course. I generally reply very fast. Um, what else? Oh, okay. So for the exam, one quick suggestion would be to understand the notations and how those work. If you do that, let me tell you, the exam will be really, really easy. But if you kind of mess up with that, the exam might be a disaster. I'm not demoralizing you. I'm just telling you that this is a tricky exam. You can easily get a full credit. You can easily get something really, really low, because it's really difficult to uh, give you partial credits on something uh, which really works only two ways. It's either that or it's either this or that. So if you somehow miss it, if you somehow make a mistake, it's really difficult to give you partial credit. So my quick suggestion would be just go over the examples, just go over the uh, try it now questions, just try the exercise questions I have mentioned in the study guide. And if you want to show your work to me that, hey, can you check my work, whether it's right or wrong, do that. I'm more than happy to do that for you. You can check your work uh, and cross-check the result, whether it's right or not. If you feel confident enough, it will be a really, really good exam. So best of luck for that. Now, if you have any questions that you want me to solve, we can start that. Otherwise, I'll start picking up questions randomly. Okay, if you have any question.
Can you do try it now 3 and 4 that we had for homework last?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me start sharing my screen. Okay. So today is 24th. Okay. So try it now 4, right now 3. Let's try now 3 first. If you have the book in front of you, I'd like you to have it open. I'll write the question on my iPad anyway, but if you have it open, that would be better. Try it now 3. Where is that? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we are looking for the truth table for negation of E and B, right? So once again, if we start with the initial criteria and then we do it step by step, we should be reaching to our desired result. So let's see how can we do that. So if you see a question like this, you can start with this. Let's make a table like this. Okay. So that's for A, that's for B, that's for negation of A, and the last one is for the given condition. So negation of A, and it would be negation of A and B. Okay. All right. So the initial criteria are both of those are true, true, false, false, true, and false, false. That's by default, right? You can always start with this if you have two initial conditions, A and B. All right. So now next, we want negation of A. So we can ignore the column B. Now all we need is these two columns. We need to consider A, and then we just need to write the alternate uh, condition on the column negation of A, right? Because negation of A is just the opposite, right? So if it's T, it would be F. For T, it would be F. For F, it would be T. For F, it would be T. So let's take a break and see if you have any question. Just see if you are okay until now.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you need to include regular A even though there's the negation of A if you know that those are opposites? Because that just seems like an extra step to me, but I don't know. Like, I would have just done negation of A, B, and then negation of A and B in 3 separate columns instead of using 4.
Okay, so you're saying you want to do like this. Instead of 4, you want to start with negation of A, like this.
Right, yep.
Okay, so tell me what you would have written in the first column.
So I would just go with true.
Okay.
And then for B, I would just go false. Or sorry, true.
All right. Then?
And then I'd go back, do true for A, false for B.
Okay.
Then false for A, true for B. And then both false. And then like in the last column, because it's and the first one would be true.
Yeah, you can do that. You can definitely do that. No
Okay.
problems with that. But make sure that your criteria are right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let me continue where we left. Okay. So now, okay. So the first column is done. Now we want the final and last condition, which is negation of A and B. Okay, if you remember, for and, both needs to be true. Both the condition needs to be true. That means negation of A and B needs to be true, right? Do you remember that? Is there anyone who is kind of wondering what's going on here? That's just the basic, what would I say? Basic requirement for the truth table for and, of course. If it was or, then if one of those was true, we would have written a T. But if it's and, then you need to see if both of those are true or not. Okay? All right. So for the first one, now definitely we need to consider the second and third column. We don't want to consider the first column anymore. Okay? So for the first row, we can see only one T. So that doesn't work for us. So let's write F. We have both false. That doesn't work either. We have both T. So definitely it satisfies our condition. And we have only one T. So that doesn't work for us. As I said, for and, we need to have two T's. We need to have both the conditions true, both the conditions satisfied, right? So this should be our final answer. Any question from this? If you can eyeball anything that's creating confusions, I'm more than okay to re-explain.
So you said it was okay to write it the other way, right? The one that you put down in red below this chart?
Just give me a second. Someone is waiting in the waiting room. I'll come back to you. Yeah, sorry. What you were saying?
So you said it was okay to write it the way that you wrote it with the red, right? Under this chart, the one that you erased?
Okay, so if you start with negation of A,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. As long as you don't make a mess, definitely I'm okay with that.
So how would you judge the last table if you just started with the negation of A? Like the negation of A and B, because on this one you went with negation of A and B, you just looked at that.
So you should definitely reach the same result. As I said, if you somehow reach a different result, then you have made a mistake somewhere in between. It may not be in the same sequence though, depending on the fact what you have here, right? But it should give you only 1 true and 3 false. Because whatever you have for negation of A, if you compare it with B, if you don't have 2 T's, you can't have a T here, right? On the right, on the last column. So whatever order you have it, doesn't matter, as long as you are taking care of this, that if you have 1 T, then it's false. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't matter in which order you're doing it. This column actually matters. And from this, whichever order you have written it, you should have the corresponding column right. I'm not going to just eyeball the answer that, hey, you have 1 T and 3 false, then you are right. No, it definitely depends on this particular column. Which order you have used here, and have you reached the right decision from that? Have you considered everything and made the right decision on the final column? That is important. Okay, because for and, as I said, you need to have 2 T's. If you somehow have, let's say, for example, let's say you have something like this, that only 1 T and 3 false, I'm not going to straight away give you full credit. I'm going to see what you have done in the previous 2 columns. If it's a show your work question, definitely. If it's a multiple choice question, then there is no way I can grade it. But yeah, if it's a show your work question, I'll definitely see it.
I had a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
At the beginning of class, you said that we need to be really familiar with the notations. Would that just be like the or symbol, the and symbol, and the negation symbol?
Yeah, you have more actually. You have the conditional, you have biconditional, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of these, yeah. Because if you don't know what does it signify, then it will be difficult for you, because the question will look like this: make a truth table for this. It will not say negation of A and B. I mean, it will not be rephrased using English words. So you need to know that this symbol means and, right? So that's really important. Okay, any other questions from Try It Now 3? All right, let's try the next one. Try it now for okay. So the question is, let me write the question first. So the negation of A and B or negation of B. Right, okay. So this is the question. Once again, I'd like to have all the steps in a single table. You can do it in a separate table as well, but that would be uh, kind of uh, tricky because you might do a mistake when you copy paste the table into the next one. So I would rather suggest you to have a single table to avoid any sort of mistake. Okay. So the first column will be for A, then we'll have B, negation of A, negation of B, and then we have negation of A and B, and of course the final one. So yeah, this should do. So A, B, negation of A, pardon my bad handwriting, negation of B, negation of A and B, and the final one would be negation of A and B or negation of B. Okay. So let's start with the initial criteria. So for two initial conditions A and B, we can always start with these four. Okay. Now we want negation of A. So let's use the first column and we want to write the alternate one here. Okay, so that's negation of A. We have already seen how does it work. Next up, let's do negation of B. So we are only looking for the second column. So T will be F, F will be T, T will be F, F will be T. Okay, so that's negation of B. Next, we want negation of A and B. We have already seen this in our previous problem. Okay, so for this one, we want negation of A, that means the third column and the second column. And of course, as I said, for and, you need two T's. That means your both your conditions should satisfy, or rather should be satisfied if you want to have the final condition satisfied, right? So the second and third column, we can see only in the third row, we have two T's. So for that one, we'll have a T. And for the rest of the three, we'll have F. Right? And then we want this particular column or negation of B. Let me use a different color, sorry. This particular column and this one. And we have OR here, right? That means if we have one T, one condition satisfied out of these two, we'll have a T. We'll have a T on the final column, right? Let's see. So for the first one, we have two F's. It doesn't work for us. We'll have F. We have one T here. So it definitely works. We have one T here as well. It works as well. And we have 1t on the last row as well. So this works as well. Because for or, if you remember, we just need one condition to satisfy out of those two. That means we need to have at least 1t on the two columns we are considering. So that should be our final answer. Now, any question from this? Take a look at this. And if you have any question, if you want me to re-explain any step, just have a go at this, okay? Anyone, any question? No question at all? Excuse me. Okay then. What's next? Which problem you want me to solve? Any problem in particular? Or I can pick a problem randomly from the study guide. Nothing at all? Okay. Let's pick a problem then and see if we can solve that. So from the exercise, let's try one or two, depending on how much time we have. So, okay. Okay, let's say we have question 5 from exercise. Exercise 5. Okay, so it says translate each statement from symbolic notation into English sentences. Let A represent Elvis is alive, and let G represent Elvis gained weight. Okay, so A represent Elvis is alive, and G represents Elvis has gained weight. So let me write gained here. Okay, so this is given, and from this, they want us to translate the symbolic notation into English sentences. That means we want to rephrase it, okay, using simple English words. So A says, A or G. Okay, so if you have a symbolic notation like this, can you translate it? Can you rephrase it using English words?
Would it be Elvis is alive or gained weight?
Very good. So that means Elvis is alive or he has gained weight. Right? Okay. Very good. For the next one is creation of A and G. Okay, this one is tricky. Can you see what's written here? Can you translate it?
I
Anyone
think I
else?
know it.
Who wants to say this?
I think that I know it.
You have already answered one. So, anyone else? Don't worry, even if you're wrong, just have a go at this.
Would it possibly be Elvis is not alive and has not gained weight?
Okay, Elvis is not alive and has not gained weight. Anyone has a different opinion than this? Anyone who disagree? Just because I have written this may not, or it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be true. It may be wrong. If you have a different opinion, you can say that. Anyone? Okay, so how can we actually simplify this? So this A and G means Elvis is alive and he has gained weight, right? But this negation works in the opposite way, opposite direction, right? It actually gives you the exact opposite thing, opposite statement of whatever you have. So if this only signifies that Elvis is alive and has gained weight, then the negation of it should mean that he's not alive, neither he has gained weight. Right. Does it make sense? Everyone? Once again, it's really important to understand these notations. I'm repeating myself because this entire topic actually depends on how well you understand these notations and how do the work. Okay, how to do this work rather. Anyway, so let's go for the next one. C says, okay, we have a conditional. Says G implies negation of A. Okay. Now, who's next? Who wants to contribute to this? Uh, Veronica, are you here? Veronica, can you hear me? I don't think she's here. Anyway, anyone wants to volunteer this?
Would it be that if G is true, then A is not true?
You need to translate this using the given informations, where A means Elvis is alive and G means he has gained weight.
Okay, so if Elvis has gained weight, then he's not alive.
Okay, okay. So again, thank you. So again, G means he has gained weight, right? A means he's alive. Negation of A means he's not alive. And this conditional means, if you remember, that if A is true, then B is true as well. I mean, let me say it again. If the first condition is true, then the second condition is true as well. So if Elvis has gained weight, okay, then he's not alive. Can you see that? because the first statement, the first condition rather says G. So if G is true, that means negation of A is true as well. That means if Elvis has gained weight, then he is not alive. The first condition implies the second one. All right. The next one is a double, or rather we have a biconditional now. We have negation of G. Okay, now what does this mean? What does this mean? Uh, Jordan, are you here? Jordan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. So can you translate it for me?
I think it means if Elvis is alive, then he has gained weight. Is that what that's saying?
Not quite. So thank you. So this notation means if and only if. It's a biconditional. That means it works both ways. Okay. So that means if the first condition is true, the second condition will be true as well. And if the second condition is true, the first condition will be true as well. That means it works both ways. Whereas for the previous problem, it definitely says if the first condition is true, then the second condition is will be true, but it doesn't say anything in the opposite direction. That means it didn't say that if the second condition was true, the first condition must be true. It didn't say anything like that. But for this problem, whichever direction you go, if this condition is true, the second one will be true as well, and vice versa. I mean, if the second condition is true, the first condition will be true. So that means you can write it this way. Elvis is, we have A, that means he is alive. Elvis is alive if and only if, oops, sorry. If and only if we have negation of G, that means he has not gained weight. The negation of G definitely means he has not gained weight. A means he is alive. And as I said, it works both ways. So Elvis is alive if and only if he has not gained weight. This if and only if means one of these, if one of these conditions is true, the other will be true as well. Any question from this one? Anyone? All good? Okay, then let's try. I think we can try one more problem. Let's try what's next. We've already done a truth table. We've seen how does this notation work. Okay, let's try one with conditionals. I mean, one truth table with conditionals. This might be helpful. So I'm picking up 8 from the exercise, okay? And here we have A and B implies C, okay? And if you remember, for this type of problem where we have 3 initial conditions, we'll have 8 initial criteria, right? I don't need this big. Okay, so that's for A, B, C, and the last one. So, okay, so this is the A, B, C. Oh, I think we need one more. Sorry for that. It would be this, okay? The final or the given condition, okay? So our by default criteria for 3 initial conditions is, if you know, all this will be true, 2 of these will be true, one of these will be true, I need just a little bit of more space. So all 3 will be false, right? This is the by default initial criteria. Next up, we have A and B. Okay, so that means we are looking for only these 2 columns. And means definitely you have already seen both the conditions has to meet its requirements. That means it has to be satisfied. So let's see, both of these are true, so that's true. This will be true as well. We have false here, so it doesn't work. We have false here as well, doesn't work either. And for all the rows from here on, we can see there is at least one F. So that means all of these will be F. Because as I said, both needs to be true, right? Okay, finally, we go to our desired column, which is A and B implies C. A and B implies C, right? Okay, now what does this mean? Now, if we have a conditional, what's the basic requirement for it to be true? How can we define whether it's T or F? Anyone?
Wouldn't it be if A and B are true, then C is true?
No, that's the statement. That's the statement. But what does it generally mean when you have a conditional in the truth table? When can you have a T here? When can you have an F?
Is it that the first part has to be true?
Not quite. You actually have something more precise.
You have to look at both A and B to see if they're true.
No. So let's do it this way. That's why I have actually picked up, because this conditional is a tricky one. So let's say we have two conditions, let's say G and H. So G implies H, okay? So for this, my question is if we have anything like this, T, 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 F, F, T, and F, F, we want to know how am I supposed to get a T and F here? What are the requirements here? So for conditional, if you remember, let me quickly show you the previous work. Here you go. I actually have it at the top. So when you have a conditional, the only way the final condition will be false if the second condition is false, even though the first one is true. If you remember, here you can see I've actually marked it like this. Even though the first condition is true, the second condition is false. Only in that case, it will be F, it will be false. Other than that, it will be true. That's why it's really tricky. The conditional could be really one of those easier ways to get messed up. Okay, so for conditional, as I said, if you have a problem like this, only if the second condition is true, even though the first condition is false, like this one, only in that case it will be false. Other than that, it will be true. So can you relate this idea here? Definitely, we want to consider only this and this column, not the first two. And on this occasion, the first condition is definitely this. That's a quick reminder. C is the second condition. That means the precedent, the consequent rather. And this one is the antecedent, right? So that means we're looking for a row where this A and B is true, but C, that means the second column, is false. First of all, are you guys with me? Does it make sense? We're just trying to copy paste the idea of this problem. So here, this is the first condition, this is the second condition. That means we're looking for a row where even though this first condition is satisfied, the second one is false. It's not satisfied. So we are running short of time. So let me finish it quickly. So I can see only in this one, I have the first condition true, but second condition is false. Can you see that? So this will be false. Other than that, everything will be true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Any question from this? Anyone? All right then, so let's stop here.